The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Did you see that Simpsons meme that someone made? It's like, you had a sex scandal with a picture of her face.
Yummy.
And also, Matt, I don't know if you heard, but the opposition leader from Queensland was referred to a corruption commission by her own party.
I know. It's been fantastic. And, I'm so keen to see how they try and spin that one. I know it's going to be a shit show, and I've prepared myself for that. I don't know how this is going to go. But what I do know is you're listening to the Cave Dweller Music Podcast. It's Matt here. We're coming from our collective caves into your dank dwellings. I'm going to be the host, as I think is tradition. We have on the line a gentleman who is got more passports than probably is good for him. He speaks, I don't know how many languages. So is he a spy or is he just a Reform News Corp journalist? James, how are we today, my friend?
I was never a journalist. I'm going to start with that.
You worked for News Corp, though. That's bad enough.
I was a cog in the machine. I worked in advertising and marketing for News Corp, but that's a dark period of my life that I don't like to talk about. So let's move on from there.
What we do like to talk about is the third member of the Cave Dweller Music Podcast. He is from right smack bang in the middle of America. If that's incorrect, I am terrible at geography. But what I am not terrible at is cartoon references. We've got Brendan on the line, who, as some people might think, sounds a bit like Popeye. How are we, my man?
Hey, how are you?
I bet one of your favorite foods to chow down on is spinach, and you're always chasing after some olive oil.
Oh boy, you know it.
So
he does like the green stuff.
Hey yo.
There you go.
Well, there we go. That's always something that I think we can all get involved with. Unfortunately, James, you've had to take a bit of a breather on that because they wouldn't let you into America if they found it in your system. What's up with that?
That is correct. I don't know. It's been a very, very, very long time because it's been a very long period of immigration back and forth between Australia, New Zealand, and the US. So only time will tell when I am legally allowed to do that again.
I mean, you also live in California, so it's like the best place for you to live if that tickles your fancy.
It is very true. Actually, not the best. Colorado is they make Californians look like they're sober. When I was there recently, there was I swear to God, I drove through some towns where they had 6 houses, no general store, and a dispensary.
That is fantastic.
Right. It is I can't get my windshield washer fluid, but I've got some weed.
I mean, if you've got your weed, do you really care about your washer fluid? I feel like that problem would just fly out the window.
Literally.
Oh, that's a good. Yes, that's a good pun. But actually, I should clarify that sentence there. I did say houses, and some of the places we drove through did not have houses. They had trailers and caravans.
Oh, fantastic.
So it was literally
it's like Trailer Park Boys, but not in Canada.
No, it's not like Trailer Park Boys. Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes.
You know Uncle Rico?
Vaguely. Holy shit, is that where that crap Australian fucking clothing store got their name?
Yes, it is.
Well, it's not crap. It's just very laddie. But yes, I do know the one.
Yeah, Uncle Rico. You know how he lives in a caravan out in the middle of the field?
Yes.
Just picture that for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of highway with nothing else, just flat ground and trailer park, individual caravans, so not trailer parks, one caravan in a field, and then every now and then a dispensary.
I always have to wonder whether people like that are really happy because, minimalism, tiny houses and all that kind of stuff. I feel like it'd be a relatively carefree life, though I couldn't imagine it would be awfully comfortable.
Well, when we were in camping near not camping, it was in a caravan. We went to the caravan, I should say, the trailer type thing near the Grand Canyon. And the dude who owns the place, he has 4 of them, and that's his entire business. And he just hangs out with his dog, which is a wolf dog, and sits around the fire and drinks, and that's his job. And then people just pay rent to him, stay in their Airbnb style every night.
I mean, like I said, that sounds like a pretty carefree life.
Exactly. I don't think he stresses very much.
Well, you mightn't stress a whole lot, but we've been up to quite a fair bit over here at Cave Dweller Music. I haven't really been doing too many of the interviews, too many of the reviews and everything like that. So I'll throw it over to you, gentlemen. Tell me some of the stuff that you guys have been whipping up for the page as of late.
Review-wise, we have been busy. We're at a point now where we're getting between from the band submitting stuff and PR companies and labels sending us stuff, 20 to 30 submissions a week.
Easily.
So it's actually been pretty hectic, which is not a bad thing. So I don't want people listening to this to think, hey, we better like not send them stuff because they're busy. Keep sending us stuff. We'll work through it as we can. But we've had some pretty good stuff come out lately. I don't know if you know this, but Anil Nathrak brought out an album.
Is that the one with
very
the
recently?
pig face with dicks for eyes?
That is it. It's
Yep.
called Endocament, and the uncensored album cover does have a pig with penises for eyes.
It's hilarious, and I got them confused with the horror-themed metal band, which name escapes me at the moment. James.
Karak Angren.
Yeah, okay. Obviously, language isn't one of my strong points because I can't remember any band name. But yeah, talk us through that record a little bit. You seem to be pretty hyped on it.
I was very hyped on it, but just so everyone in the audience knows, if those names sound kind of weird, it's because they're both from Tolkien. Those are both names of places from Lord of the Rings.
Okay, out of a rough estimate, and we'll get back to the album review itself, but how many bands do you reckon have named themselves after Tolkien or Tolkien adjacent things? Because, man, I have a strong guess it'd be like 500 plus.
It's a lot. It's a lot. There's like an Nathrak, Karak Angren, Minas Morgul, Minas Tirith. There's the band Morgul itself. There's Morgoth. That's just a few off the top of my head.
Isn't Gorgoroth also from Tolkien?
Yes, I think Gorgoroth is also Tolkien. It's a place name, I'm pretty sure. I'm not a nerd or anything. I just really like Tolkien.
Wow.
Tolkien's amazing, and what I love about them is like the in-depth length of songs, like just the structure of it all. It's immense sound for what they're doing.
Also, fun fact, I did not know this until today, and I bet most people don't. Tolkien was actually born in South Africa.
He hails from your neck of the woods.
He does, and that blew my mind. I had no idea.
Does that give you a little bit of national pride?
I'm not supposed to have national pride where I'm from.
Nor am
I'm just
I.
kidding.
Oh boy.
But we should probably move on to that record discussion. Anil Nathrak in Darkenment. It is probably the band's most polished, most mature release so far. Somehow, simultaneously, they got more aggressive and more melodic at the same time. I think it's because they picked their battles. So instead of just having one thing that's kind of aggressive the whole way through, they had elements that are kind of melodic and catchy, and then elements that are really aggressive. And I think the fact that the parts that are more melodic makes the more aggressive parts really stand out. So if you haven't listened to them, I would probably recommend starting with this album because it's a little bit more accessible than some of their other stuff. Not that it's accessible, but more so than some of the other releases. These guys make music to shock people.
It's always a little bit of an oxymoron when you're like, okay, it is accessible, but it's also inaccessible. So to be like, it's accessible by their standards. I always think of it as the first two Portal records, although really good, sound like they've been recorded through like 4 or 5 brick walls, but the Ion sounded great, but it was also really inaccessible in like the classic Portal way. Yes. Yeah. That was a great album. And they're a great band. And I saw them once when very intoxicated. I saw them play with Marduk, and they scared me.
Holy crap, did they play with Marduk?
They did. That was a fantastic gig.
Well, if I wasn't jealous of you for seeing Portal before, I definitely am now. Brendan, you've been doing a fair bit of work on some of the albums coming out. What's been one that's caught your eye as of late that's popped up on the Cave Dweller music page?
I would say like Spherical Curse coming out of Finland is gonna be an immense album. I don't think we've actually covered it, but I posted it in the private group, and it is gonna be insane.
So has it been fully released as of yet, or is it still teaser tracks and singles at the moment?
It's still teaser tracks.
Well, that's one that we're going to have to keep an eye on. One of the ones that I reviewed for the page a little while back was the new Idols record, Ultra Mono, which, coming off the back of Joy as an Act of Resistance, I wasn't really sure as to what's going to go. Obviously, you know, I had Brutalism in 2017, Joy that came out in, was it 2018 that one there came out? James, you're going to have to back me up on this one.
Yes, I want to say yes, 2018.
Right, so then they come into Ultra Mono, and Model Village was the first song I heard off that, another great track. But overall, I really thought that Ultra Mono was in some respects, and actually overall, now that I think about it, I found it a much easier and engaging listen than what I did to Joy as an Act of Resistance. Maybe there's a little bit of recency bias there, and I had that thing on repeat while I was doing the album review. But you've got a whole bunch of really fun imagery, like, you know, Conor McGregor with a samurai sword on rollerblades, hilarious. The entire image set built on Model Village. The first song on the album has a whole bunch of like war onomatopoeias and Joe Talbot just going insane. There's a song later on in the record where he barks like a dog, and I think it's one of the few times that I've heard that on a record, and it didn't sound goofy. If you've been following anything with Idols in the last little while, you'd see that they've been engaged in they haven't been engaged. They've been called out by Sleaford Mods and Fat White Family, who I've never actually heard of prior to their little spat.
Oh, I did. I looked them up after the article came out, and I have to say, Idol shits all over them.
Brett, if you haven't seen it, it's basically these two. I think they're both English bands that are upping Idols for this, but they're basically going, "You are not working class enough to be punk," which I can understand some of the negativity that they want to put forward onto Idols. When I was doing my zine, I would get thoroughly annoyed when I'd see people I knew who weren't a part of, you know, the underground scene come through, claim this culture that we've been building for the last little while for themselves, and then go on and have greater success for it. So in that respect, can kind of see where Sleaford Mods and Fat White Family are coming from. But on the flip side of that, rather, you kind of just seem like you're gatekeeping the working class, which I found a little bit odd. Like, you need to be poor and have shit health and be not very well off to be punk. And I really like Sleaford Mods, so it was a little weird. It was kind of like a bit of a cognitive dissonance for me, really liking Sleaford Mods, shitting on another band that I really like on a topic which I'm kind of half on. But getting back to the album itself, man, front to back, Ultra Mono, very good record indeed.
And before we move on from albums that really stood out, we just had two other ones that I had to give some props to just quickly because they were so good. Wharf Lurch with their new album Shit Slime from Florida. That album it's pummeled me. I've been listening to it so much lately. Did either of you guys get a chance to check that one out?
I haven't had a chance to check that one out. I was just lining up another record that I wanted to talk about. So you hit me with yours, and then we'll jump back to this one here.
Okay. Warfare, Shit Slime, really awesome doom death with a really old school feel, like OSDM style. Just some killer death metal out of Florida there, just with an EP. And then the other one we had to talk about was Squelch Chamber, which came out as a surprise release through Curse Monk Records, and honestly blew me away. The album was called Nightmarish, and it was some of the filthiest music I've ever heard in my life. There's a portion of it, I think it's track 2 or maybe 3, where there's bass being played, and it took me like 2 minutes to realize what the instrument was with the level of distortion. Fantastic. And I've been talking to one of the band members for about the last 2 weeks. He's a great guy. He's going to come on our podcast next month, talk about what it's like to make such filthy music. And yeah, great dude, great music. Can't compliment it enough.
That'd be rather interesting to hear how he approaches that, because one of the things that I've always wondered is, how do you make music that is filthy but still in the realm of music? Obviously, you've got stuff that's basically just like noise, field recordings, and by structurally it's not actually music. But I'm always interested to see how people make music that is still boundary pushing, still filthy, and still not quite music, while still actually being in the realm of a discernible song.
Exactly. And Brendan, I don't mean to put words in your mouth at all, but did you say that Fawn Limbs Sleeper Vessels is one of your top ones for the month?
Fawn Limbs Sleeper Vessels is definitely on the top of my list, and as well as Fistula. My God, that album was so terrible. I love it so much. Oh, it was so good.
Talk us through those records, man. Like I haven't listened to either of them. What do they sound like? Where are they from? Give us the Brendan interpretation.
So, Fistula is like a brick to your face and smashing your teeth in, all while you can hear every sound of your incisors being crunched. It's just absolutely disturbing and immense sound. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Jeez.
You sound like you need a cigarette and a wank after just describing that record. It's really gotten to you.
A little bit. I mean, it's super intense, When you hear that album, especially like Fistula, like when you hear it, you're just like, what just happened to my ears? Like, wow. Like, did that hurt? Was that good? Absolutely yes to all of those.
Was it good for you?
It was good for me.
I always feel the same way going back and listening to noise, because like it takes like a good minute or two to get used to it after a while. Like having not listened to it for a month or two, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, righto. And then as soon as I get back into it, I'm kind of like, I remember why I like this. And then 2 or 3, minutes down the track, I'm kind of like, I don't want to listen to anything else for the next week. I'm just going to listen to the sound of machines failing on themselves and TV static turned up to 1,000 and put through like a phaser. It's great. It's kind of like a cleanse almost, which I find really fun.
That's why I love like Warfletch. No, not Warfletch. Squelch Chamber, because that's noise as well. And honestly, noise is one of the most enjoyable genres in the world. Like you have to really be in the mood for it, but when you are, it's just unlike anything else that exists.
Yeah, it's like Primitive Man, like early records. They're just a bunch of noise where there's no lyrics, but like you're literally just left with like, what just happened? Was like, did I just listen to a person get buried into the ground, or like, what's going on?
I always sort of trace it back to the fact that it's such a sensory overload when you're listening to that kind of music, where it does sort of feel relaxing afterwards, because you've had this big tension built up, you've had it built up, and then once it's gone, you're kind of like, oh, life's not always like that. All right, I'm just going to get on with my day then.
Yep.
One album that I did want to mention, I know that James was really keen on this one. Brendan, this might be in your camp as well, but the new Lamp of Murmur record finally was released. Unfortunately, being one of those bands, I haven't seen it released on Bandcamp as of yet, but Order of Dark Arts...
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Order of Dark Arts on YouTube released a full album stream, and my God, very much in the similar vein to what Departure Chandelier did last year, I think it was, with their record, which title escapes me. It's got Napoleon on the front cover having a bit of a kip, but the Lamp of Murmur, really good black metal, really pushing what is an often very stagnant genre. And I always sort of have a tendency to introduce black metal records, modern black metal records at that, as well, the good ones still push the genre forward, because a lot of it does seem to be stuck in that late 90s, early 2000s second wave worship. But they put in a whole bunch of different things here. The song lengths, I know I shit on prog music a lot for going, 15 minutes and having a million different solos, but across, I think it's only 4 tracks, but the whole time it's really engaging. You've obviously got the really quick, really visceral chords that they have a tendency to play, which sounds like one note blurred together. There's a whole bunch of blast beats. There's actually some really cool death metal drum grooves in there, which I wasn't expecting. And in the later parts, they push in some sort of, the best way I can describe it is they push through some melodies which shouldn't fit. It's like the old, but it's like the old Burzum records where it's like got the black metal, but then over the top they've got those really distinct, obvious key lines that sort of glide over this horrible mess. It's a really great record, and over the next couple of weeks, I'll be definitely popping a review up on the Facebook page for that one there. Those are just sort of the thoughts of it off the top of my head, because I did want to get it documented that I listened to that record and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good to hear. Do you want me to quickly, just before we move on to the next section, to list off a couple of the other reviews we covered in the past month that are worth
Definitely.
noting?
I think at this point as well, it would be worth mentioning that we've actually included a few more writers in the Cave Dweller music crew. You've still got the Cerberus of James, Brendan, and Matt, but we've got a few extra limbs, extra heads on this Cerberus. Honestly, man, if we keep going, we're not going to look like a Cerberus. We're going to be a Hydra. But that's enough fucking reference to Greek mythology. James, run us through the writers that we've brought on board.
Yeah, we've actually got Will J, who actually writes for Wolves in the Drone Dune. That's his site. He's done a bit of work for a few other bigger blog pages as well, including, actually I'm not going to say because I can't think of the top of my head what it was. I don't want to get it wrong. But he's definitely written for some bigger pages as well. We also got Yari, who's a friend of Matt and I's, who lives in Australia, who's been helping us a lot with the prog stuff. So Yari's come on as essentially our prog correspondent.
Which ties in well because I recently mentioned that I can't stand prog. I don't want to listen to a fucking 15-minute song with 10-minute solos and have their entire fan base tell me how fucking good their music is. If it's good music, motherfuckers, why don't I like it? Ooh, you can play a fucking Egyptian pentatonic scale, but you can't write a catchy fucking song.
Do you like Tool?
No, I hate Tool.
He's very closed-minded on this matter. He's ignorant.
Yeah, fucking Will Full Stop. I don't want to listen to shit music.
Yeah, so we pretty much brought on Yari to balance out Matt, because Matt has some deep-seated issues with prog music, which I think maybe go back to his childhood when he was touched by a prog album.
No, I wasn't touched by a prog album, because if I was touched by it, maybe I would enjoy it. I think what has happened is I've been surrounded by prog musicians and very sort of technically sounded musicians my entire life, like through childhood, and they just keep telling me how great Animals as leaders are and how fucking great Dreamfist.
Hey, Animals leaders are great. Don't you dare talk about Animals
Animals
leaders.
amazing, man. Come on.
Yeah, I've seen him live. He's fantastic.
It's a 3-piece band, you ignorant fuck. I don't like them, and even I know that it's not just Tosin Abasi solo project.
Hey, okay, what you should know is it originally was going to be Tosin Abasi, but he refused to do the project unless he could bring on other musicians.
Right.
So essentially it is the Tosin Abasi project.
He did the air guitar solos in the new Bill and Ted. Come on.
All right.
That's classic.
I got to give him credit for that. That's pretty damn cool. But yeah, anyway, that kind of just needed to inject my dislike for prog. But yeah, so we brought Yari on to counterbalance me, basically because of the previous 2 minutes of diatribe against the genre.
Yeah. So and then we also have Nick from Haitian Firm, who is just a guest writer. So he'll just contribute every now and then when he gets a chance. So you'll see some of his stuff popping up. And we're currently in talks with someone else, but we won't say anything until that's confirmed. So at the moment, it's just the two proper writers and then
We've
the one
got
guest
some
writer.
plans in the works, so to say. So just keep an eye out on the website and on the Facebook page. We'll have some more stuff coming up on there. But one thing that I did want to get going for this page is sort of a hall of fame almost, but obviously we are cave dwellers. We come from our collective caves into your dank dwellings. So rather than having it as a standard hall of fame, I was thinking of, we can have some cave paintings, something, that we really enjoy that we want to memorialize through all time until BHP come through, or was it Rio Tinto? Until Rio Tinto come through and blow up an Aboriginal site, but they don't have to clean it up, but we won't get into that. So basically what this whole thing is James, myself, and Brendan will each present and vouch for something that we want to go up on our cave paintings. And then you guys basically either jump onto, I think we will pop it up on the Cave Dweller Music closed group. So we'll upload a poll there. You vote for whatever one you want, and then we sort of go through there, and whichever one with the most votes wins. I shot you guys a message beforehand. Have you prepared your item, your thing, your cultural artifact to go up as a cave painting? What do we got?
I will let Brendan go first, and then I'll follow up.
Nice. So I have Decade of Depression by Fister, which is an entire cover album. And my favorite is How the Gods Kill by Danzig, originally. And I know how much James loves Danzig, so I had to go with that. Mm-hmm. And my second favorite cover is Reaper by Dark Throne. And dude, this album, this is the fifth and sixth song on the album. They do a Mandatory Suicide by Slayer, From Whom the Bells Toll by Metallica. Like, they cover a lot of great bands here, and this is literally their tribute to being a band for the last 10 years, and it's fucking astounding. I think this is a go-to record for anyone who is like wondering about what Fister's all about. They are absolutely crushing every single one of these songs, and the album even before that, No Spirit Within, absolutely crushing and devastating power vocals. These guys, they got it all. They check off all the lists. They're doomy, they're sludgy, they're just blackened. It's all of it, everything. It's a total package.
Wonderful. So we've got Seasons of Depression by Sister, was it? I'm just writing these ones down, making notes so we can upload it to the Facebook page.
Fister. Sorry.
Right, got it.
Yeah, Fister.
Oh, good. It's that damn Popeye accent that's getting me.
Oh, boy.
All righty, so we got Fister Season of Depression. James, what are you trying to pop up on our cake?
So, Decade of Depression.
Look, I'll get there in the end. Right.
I'm going to have to go with Thou's album from this year, A Primer of Holy Words.
All righty, talk us through that. Also, just give a little bit of a heads up. You guys have gone for serious albums. I was just going to be a shithead and say something dumb. But walk through yours, James, and we'll get to my idiocy in a minute.
Well, I chose mine for the same reason as Brendan chose his. It's a cover album that covers a lot of different famous bands. And obviously Thou are one of the biggest cover, they're the kings of covers, really. One of the kings of covers. They do some of the best in the business, and they cover fantastic songs. I don't think any other band could do a cover of Nirvana's entire album of Nirvana covers and make it worth listening to.
Nirvana's never worth fucking listening to, but Thou made it possible.
They did.
They made it fantastic. This album isn't that one. This is a different cover album. This one is a collection of different bands. So They cover everyone from Agents of Oblivion to Black Sabbath. There's some Alice in Chains. It's pretty much got everything in there. And it's fantastic. Honestly, it's some of the best Black Sabbath covers I've ever heard. Like they have Into the Void, Sweet Leaf, Black Sabbath, and Lord of this World. Just some fantastic stuff there, and they make it sound so good.
All right, so what was that one there? Let me just write it down. Let me take some notes.
Primer of Holy Words was the album.
Of Holy Words, beautiful. And what was the band again? Sorry, man. Oh, shit.
Thou.
Alrighty. Cool. Right. Sweet. All right. So we got Fister, Decade of Depression, Thou, Primer of Holy Word. And I preface this with a little bit of idiocy. I'm actually just going to nominate the Facebook page Kanye Metal Quotes. and honestly, that's the kind of nonsense that I want up on our cave wall. We really do love heavy music, but it's also just really ridiculous, and we're a bunch of dickheads. But essentially, if you haven't seen Kanye Metal Quotes and you're a metal fan, you're a fan of heavy music, alternative stuff, styles like that, please go and check it out. It is hilarious, and it's basically just this one dude shit posting about every single metal band. There's quotes, and it looks like it's attributed to Kanye. He just posts fucking text box, photo of Kanye, shit post. It's hilarious. And to give you a bit of an idea as to some of the content, I just want to read out a few choice ones that I found. One is Marilyn Manson was supposed to kill himself in 1996, but he didn't. So to me, he'll always be a lying ass bitch. Pretty apt. Oh, here we go. This works out. This works out well because you guys were shitting on me for not liking Tool, but Kanye's pretty sure even Tool hates their fans.
Oh, they definitely do. A majority. Come on.
So that's basically sort of what I was going to put forward to go up on our cave walls. Just really dumb stuff, really fun stuff like that. So if you want to jump on to the Cave Dweller Music Facebook group, we've got a page. We've also got a closed community group where you can get in touch with other fans of the page, have a chat. It's a big music sharing group that we should all get into and, talk to some like-minded people. We'll be popping up the poll in the next couple of days. So you can either vote for Thou, Primer of Holy Words, Fister's Decade of Depression, or the Facebook page Kanye Metal Quotes. It'll all be up on the Facebook page.
Look, if we're doing Facebook pages and make fun of metal, then I'm going to have to substitute mine for something different because I have a different option, which I discovered today, called Albums with the Wrong Band Name.
Oh, that is amazing. Or albums with googly eyes. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's a fantastic page.
Albums with wrong band names on them is like a 10,000 person group I came across today. And I swear to God, there's like 100 memes alone of people using the Altars of Madness album cover by Morbid Angel to make dumb memes. And it's fantastic.
I just saw one of the new 6 Feet Under mixed up with the Halloween store going out of business. Oh, brutal. It was so brutal.
Okay, do you even need memes to make fun of 6 Feet Under at this point, though?
No.
Isn't Chris Barnes like the joke itself? Like he doesn't need. He is the punchline.
Yeah, it's so. Those guys should have just left it at that and walked away last album.
Can I say that at the point when your label turns comments off on the single that they're releasing for your album is a bad indicator. Like they're like, well, people are going to be so mean to us that we have to disable comments before the album even goes up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they.
And another example.
No, it's right. I was just going off on the labels disabling album comments. I remember that Metal Blade did that with the latest Fake Batushka record. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, did they?
Whatever his fucking name is, the Fake Batushka. When their first single came out, they immediately turned off comments because everyone's like, this isn't the real band. Where's Christoph? What the fuck's going on? It's kind of like, yo, if the fans know that something's awry, why are you still flogging this?
Yeah.
Wait, I think Metal Blade was the one that put up the new 6 Feet Under album and turned off comments again.
Yeah.
So they're having a bad track record.
They might have. I was about to say, you schooled me on that because I was like, hey, you guys, this guy told me about this band. And then you were like, no. This is the real band. And I was like, oh, shit.
Someone did the same thing or a similar thing in the group the other day. I posted, I think it was the last fan poll day. And someone was like, oh, yeah, artists that have passed away. And I was like, well, I can only really say G.G. Allen. So I posted his song Carmelita, and someone told me it was a Neil Diamond song, and then in behind that, it was someone else's covers. So it seems like everyone knows a little bit more than we do.
You know, I mean, you can't knock people for they may know where something came from, but that's not what we were talking about. You know what I mean? Like, who covered who? Yeah. But this guy, G.G. Allen, this chosen son of New Hampshire, was a maniac, and he died, and he made some really ridiculous music, really some crazy stage performances, but that wasn't the point. So those people can shut up.
I do have a fun little side anecdote about G.G. Allen. When I was working at a radio station in Brisbane, they had a show specifically for the listeners. I think the premise was it was made specifically for people who were currently serving time and who were in prison. And it was the way for them to communicate with their family on a wider base and their family to communicate them on a personal level, which is really cool. And everyone involved in the show was awesome. And I had a lot of time for them. But my favorite thing about that show was every single song request without fail was G.G. Allen, with a tagline being he was the last true rock and roll icon. Long live G.G. Allen. And I'm just sort of going, this is the exact kind of stuff I want to hear on a community station. 48 hours of G.G. Allen, please and thank you.
Does he have 48 hours worth of music, though?
I say 37.4 seconds.
And you can just listen to it on
Close enough.
repeat, or if you're feeling fancy, just listen to Suck My Ass It Smells over and over until your ears bleed. We're gonna try something else a little bit different here on the Cave Dweller Music Podcast. We sort of want to put something out on our cave painting. We want to memorialize it, and of course you can go and vote for those ones there on the Facebook group. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up as well is a new section we're going to call From the Grotto. Big thanks to Brendan for actually reminding me that a grotto is a kind of cave. Well, what we're going to do is bring albums out that, old albums we've only just rediscovered, old albums that we'd never heard of but only recently discovered, or even old albums that we really love and don't see getting the due that we think they deserve. So that's going to be a thing that we're going to be running pretty much in every podcast. And I'm going to kick things off if you guys don't mind me getting stuck into it.
Go for it.
I recently found the album by Fishmans, and I posted it on the Facebook page the other day. Really big fan of it. The album's called Long Season. It came out in 1996, so I would have been a wee baby of one under one when it came out. So I'm so very thankful I got to rediscover it. Really interesting album. It's 37-ish minutes long, but it's one entire track from start to finish, and kind of in the way how classical musical pieces are put together, it's done in separate sections and in separate movements, and it's a really interesting and also really fun blend of pop, psychedelia. There's some sort of ambient parts through there. One of the best parts in the record, I think it's 4 or 5 minutes, and it could be part 4 or part 5. I'll have to double check that. But it is basically this swirling ambient piece and just some vocal lines, just some really simple, rising and falling vocal lines
for about 4 or 5 minutes. And it was just, it's one of those records that you put on, because I recently got really into ambient music, and it's a perfect record to sort of follow on from that. It's got a little bit more structure. It's got a little bit more happening. There's some fun piano keys cascading down. There's some really cool drum sections. But it's just one of those records, if you put it on with headphones, or you listen to it on good speakers, everything else just kind of fades away. Like you're stuck in the world that this album's created for you. You will get there. You will return to normality once it's finished. But for those 37 minutes, you're not in your room. You're not in your car. You're not sitting at work or in the library. You're in whatever place, whatever time, whatever world Fishmans want you to be when they made Long Season. So that's mine to bring up from the Grotto. It's going to be Fishman's Long Season. Did either of you guys check that one out when I posted it to the page? Yeah, I'm not going to be upset if you haven't. I'm just, going to double down on my hatred of prog.
I read it, but I haven't listened to it.
I honestly, I have not listened to it.
Well, there we go. Now that it's brought back from the Grotto, that's something we can get onto. Brendan, what is the album that you were bringing back from the past, bringing back from the Grotto? You've got your DeLorean, you've gone back in time, now you're back to the future. What record have you brought with you?
So for me, it's a Black Rainbows album, and Carmen Diablo. I love it. It's from 2010, and it's just great rock, stoner, influenced doom, a little faster than doom. The first track, Himalaya, is one of my favorites. The album sets the pace for like a basic amazing drive out into the wilderness or through the desert. It's just cosmic. It's desert-y as far as your desert rock, but with amazing vocals that you can sing along to. That's where I'm at with that one.
I had a look at the album cover as well. It's got the classic skull. I think it's a bird skull.
It's a rabbit skull. Looks like a rabbit skull.
So it's definitely doubled down on those desert vibes. Plus, you've also got anytime you see a record that has red, black, yellow, brown, oranges, and that kind of stuff, you more or less know that you're in for some sort of desert doom record.
Yeah, it's really good. It's one of my favorites out of that particular band, and they put out a lot of records. They did a split with Farflung, which is also one of my favorite splits of all time. It's just everything out of it is generally just really quality and thought through. They're out of Italy. Amazing.
So I don't really know of too many Italian metal bands. I think the only other one that I can think of is Goblin. And the only reason I know them is because they did the soundtrack to Suspiria way back in day.
We've actually covered 3 Italian metal bands this month.
And those bands are?
Ooh, now you're putting me on the spot. Give me 2 seconds. I will be able to tell you. I know 2 of them off the top of my head, but I want to get all 3. We have Proscription was one. We had Affliction Vector was the other, which is some awesome raw black metal.
And
who was the third one? Oh, Hateful. Hateful was the other one.
Hateful, yeah, that tech death band. Oh my God, that's probably one of the first tech death bands that got me into tech death, and it's.
Yes, I agree. Great.
I honestly think that band rips some shit up.
1 second, I have to fact check myself because I think I might have gone one of these confused. Is it Italy? No, Proscription was Finland. The third one we covered that was from Italy was Alfonso Carracci, which makes sense looking at his name. So we had Hateful, Alfonso Carracci, and Affliction Vector, the 3 Italian bands we covered this month.
Go check them out on the Facebook page. But getting back to the task at hand, James, what is the album that you're bringing back from the oft-forgotten past?
Okay, so complicated answer because there's so many different remasters of this and editions, but I'm going with Hellhammer's Apocalyptic Raids from 1984.
All right.
I actually Matt, you and I both love this album. We talked about it a lot over the years. But I recently fell in love with it all over again after listening to it a few weeks ago. Because we reviewed a band that actually sounded quite a bit like Hellhammer. And made me listen to the whole thing again. I've probably listened to it another 3 times since then. So it's a complicated answer because the original EP from 1984 only had 4 tracks on it. But it was brought out again in 1990 as Apocalyptic Raids AD, which had the full album, which included 2 tracks from a compilation that they did. And that version is great because those 2 tracks are fantastic. And then it was just remastered again in the 2020 edition.
So what we got? The Third of the Storm, Massacra, Triumph of Death, Horus Aggressor, Revelations of Doom, and Messiah. I'm guessing that's the most recent pressing of that one there.
I think so. It's what's on Spotify currently. Is this called Apocalyptic Raids 2020 Remaster?
Ooh, I'm going to have to go listen to that. I can't remember which one that I've been listening to. But for those who are listening in and don't know Hellhammer, walk us through them a little bit more.
So if you've heard of Celtic Frost, you know who Hellhammer are. These guys were like proto-Celtic Frost back before they became the big name band. And they never did a full-length album. They did 3 demos, an EP, a split, and then a couple of compilations. And then they shifted over and became Celtic Frost, who happened to be one of my all-time favorite bands. Tom G. Warrior has actually put out 3 of my top 10 albums. So 2, one of which was with Celtic Frost, which is Monotheist, which, Matt, I know you're a fan of. And the other 2 were with his other band, Triptychon, which is also fantastic.
I remember chatting to you about trying to whittle down a top 10 albums. Not even a top 10 albums. I think it was like a top 10 bands of all time. And I think we ended up coming with like 12 or 13 just because, man, that's hard.
Dude, that's tough.
It was hard. It took us like a week and a half to get back to each other on that one.
I think music style changes like through seasons, you know what I mean? So like I find myself listening to a lot of heavier music, then that becomes like for fall and winter, right? I listen to like the more dark and depressing, more raw music. And then when it comes around to spring and summer, I'm listening to more of like the not necessarily like poppy, but like more like, you know, positive styled of metal or music or whatever it is. But like everything changes with season for me, you know? So I think coming up with a top 10 would be immensely daunting task.
I would like to see your
I think we did try
playlist though. We should do a Brendan seasonal playlist. You can have one for the colder months, one for the warmer months, and you can sort of be our vibe consultant for what we need to play during particular parts of the year.
I would love to do that.
You got to fight that seasonal depression.
Yeah.
But no, I entirely agree with that. Like, you listen to different things over different months. Like coming out of winter and heading into spring, I've fallen deeply back into the. How do I say this without being, or at least describing it? The best way I can describe it is reformed Tumblr girl, grew up in the punk scene, and now has a guitar kind of music. So you've got like your Phoebe Bridges, your Julian Bakers, we're talking Snail Mail and all that kind of stuff. I've just been listening to that on repeat for ages because it's really good change of season weather. We're coming out of winter here in Australia. Winter. But then we're going into sort of a spring, and I don't know, there's just something about it where you can listen to it when things are finally warming up and flowers are blooming, and you just sort of sit there going, yeah, this is right.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not even just like seasons, it's settings, like what you're doing at the time and where you are, and like because when I did that road trip recently, there was a lot of times where I was just driving through desert all day with nothing else around, just desert. And there was definitely like I listened to a lot of Caius because I can totally see why desert rock is a thing because that like upbeat rhythm and the high like the galloping sort of riffs really suits going like way over the speed limit down back desert
Oh
roads.
yeah, baby.
I couldn't agree more. So there we go. We're bringing out of the grotto. Let's do a recap of what we brought out. I brought out Fishman's Long Season out of 1996. Brendan, you brought Back from the Past. What did you bring back?
From the past?
What record are we bringing out from the past? What's coming back from the grotto?
What's coming
What
back
album
from the
did we just talk about,
my
man?
God.
Let's cut it back.
I would say that was the Carmine Diablo from Black Rainbows. Was that
it
what
was
I was
indeed.
talking about?
And
I think
James,
that's
what
it
did you
was.
bring
Yes.
back? Hellhammer?
It was Hellhammer, Apocalyptic Raids, but we're gonna maybe go with the 1990 version because it had the full track
none of this
listing.
remastered corporate nonsense in our black metal, please and thank you.
Yeah, I only like that one because it has the 2 extra tracks. Because the original EP only has 4 songs.
Songs are really good. What are
They're
those
really
extra
good.
songs? I've got it up here. It is Revelations of Doom and Messiah. 2 great songs. I still think Triumph of Death is probably the best one on there, although Horus Aggressor is also really fun.
I also would like to admit that for the spring and summertime, I'm a huge fan of Baroness Yellow and Green. That is probably one of my all-time favorites.
I can see that. I can definitely say that. I've never really listened too much to Baroness, but the guy who does the album cover for that also did some work. He did some work.
Oh, he's so good.
Oh, it's amazing. You got to give Yellow and Green, and definitely you got to do it. You got to do it.
I'm gonna come out and admit that I never got into Baroness. I've tried so many times, like 6 or 7 times, to like them, but it's not that I dislike them. It just doesn't do much for me, and I apologize to all those Baroness fans out there because I know that I should like them by all means, but I just don't.
Yellow. You got to give Yellow and Green a go. For me, Take My Bones Away or Little Things, just it's so good. Or Back Where I Belong. It brings back.
Send me like the top 3. Send me the top 3 Baroness songs so I can listen to them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many. Like the entire album, Yellow and Green, 2012. I could also put that for my my Back in the Grottos album too, but I think Fister really fits that bill.
I've just pulled it up on Spotify, and I'm pretty much just going to be reading Marquis de Sade this afternoon. So I found my my music to listen to while I read.
Yeah, dude, yellow and green, man. I'm telling you, it's fantastic.
Beauty, gents. Well, if there's anything else that we wanted to add, that's what we'll do before we wrap up. So we sort of covered at the start what we've already done on the page. What are we going to have coming up in the next little while? On my end, I'm going to be doing the review for the new Lamp of Murmur record. I also have one coming in the next little while for a brand new record by Stiff Richards. So keep an eye out on the page for that one there, and they'll be up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, do you want me to go through the top list of upcoming albums we're excited about from our website?
Art is definitely on there, but you can fill us in with what else is going on.
Oh yeah, yes. Baby.
That is the first one coming up. Actually, that's in 10 days.
Yep,
Stealing
it's going to be amazing.
Then on the 30th, we have Possessor's Damn the Light, which we actually put the review up for yesterday. If you haven't heard of them, they sound like a really modern version of Venom, but with like a sludgy, doomy overtone.
Like black and rock and roll.
So, yeah, like a black speed metal, but with like a really sludge tone to
Venom,
it.
so I'm definitely
his voice,
go check that out.
Yeah, you should. His voice sounds so similar as well to Kronos's. The other one we have, which Brendan and I are huge fans of, November 13th, we've got Of Feather and Bone with their upcoming album, Sulfuric Disintegration. After that is actually a pick from our other writer, Will J. Karop Mara Alta, with the album Patiently Waiting for Wonderful Things. That's November 27th. And then January 15th, we have Gravehuffer Necro Eclosion. But we will have the review for that one up next week.
Damn,
when they actually
alrighty. So
drop the pre-orders.
we're getting in really early. It's October and we're already looking ahead to January next year.
We are, because I've been chatting to the guys from that band. They're really good dudes, and we want to help them out.
If you do want to get in touch, you can hit us up via the Facebook page, Cave Dweller Music. We've got our website up as well, cavedwellermusic.net. James has just done some fucking technical wizardry, so if you don't feel like sending us a proper big boy email, you can just hit a little icon down the bottom corner. It'll take you straight through to our messenger on our Facebook page. Makes it a whole lot easier. Kind of takes the daunting formality out of it.
It does, and it's even pre-programmed with some questions for you that you can just click to send directly to us.
That's everything I had lined up and wanting us to chat about today. Gents, is there anything that we've missed out that you guys wanted to plug? Anything that we haven't had a chat about that you wanted to bring up to the table a little bit more? What do we got? We've
just one thing. We got the beer.
Do give us an update on how the beer's coming along.
I'll let
the brew.
Yeah, Brendan, do you want to take the lead?
Yeah. So we have the double rye IPA done. We dubbed it Rise of the Dead.
Love a good pun.
And it's at a 6.2 ABV, and it's going to be amazing. I actually just got all these stickers in to slap on the bottles for Misanthropic Records. And they're supporting artists and bands, and along with Alloy Radio, they got a few bottles as well, so that when they get shipped out, I hope everybody truly enjoys it, and we can get that ball rolling even further.
It's always I always like having a beer associated with our website. It's a really fun little touch, I think.
I think so too. And hopefully we can eventually get to a point where we're churning out a bit more of it, because Brendan actually bought a whole new setup,
right,
which is a big rig.
I did, yes. So I just upgraded all of my homebrew equipment, and everything should be a very easy flow as far as 5-gallon batches being made. In whatever style you want, it's available. I can do it.
Well, that's something to keep an eye on, and I have no doubt that beer and heavy music go very well together. So you can have a few people hitting you up about that.
I hope so.
And I guess the last thing we want to mention is we are now on YouTube since our last podcast where we all chatted together. So if you or your band would like to do track premieres of any kind, feel free to hit us up and we can get those uploaded for you. The other thing is our podcasts are also now on Spotify. So if you're a Spotify listener, check us out there, which you might already be doing while listening to this one. But if not, just know that we are there too.
Together, if you want to hit us up and be a part of the podcast, see, two things in one, very good plug. We're going to be opening up a mailbag from pretty much now on. I haven't come up with a clever cave or caveman-based way to describe it. But yeah, if you want to hit us up, send us some questions, ask us about, our favorite band, our least favorite band, the best show that we've ever been to, the best venue that we've ever been to. Mine's going to be Crowbar, just a spoiler alert. Or if you just want to talk shit with us.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to know why I can't watch Breaking Bad because I love Malcolm in the Middle too much, by all means, send us that one there. There's so many things. If you want to know how Brendan likes his coffee, let us know. Ask us a question. He'll give you all his recipes. Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you keep that one close to his chest. But have a chat to us. Get involved. We want to hear what you guys want to know. We want some more feedback. We want some more interaction with you through our podcast and through all of the available avenues.
Yeah, I think the only other thing is, I guess we just let everyone know we've got a few podcasts coming up, some interviews lined up. So in the near future, we're hopefully going to have Jem from Dead, Australian band, coming to have a chat with us. And hopefully one of the guys from Squelch Chamber is going to come have a chat with us as well. There was a band that we mentioned earlier, something we really liked. The man who will be chatting with us is Jason. And aside from that, I think that just
Beautiful.
about
Thank you very
wraps
much
us up.
for joining us in our collective caves. This is the Cave Dweller Music Podcast. We'll catch you all next time around the fire.